This is for Lauren. I'm trying to duplicate what you had on the screen, so I wrote down all your settings. So I'm going to put in a pantograph. I'm just going to enter a rectangle manually and 40 by 40 just because. Let me turn this off because you didn't have it on. And then the pattern was from Jessica Schick. And it was the JS Panto. Let's see. Get there. Oops, there it was. It's this. But if we make this bigger so we can see the whole thing, I just want you to see that the name of the pattern is actually CRN at the end, which means it's a corner. So probably she digitized this to go with a vine, and then that was straight, that was a Panto, and then this was a corner that would go with it, and that didn't come with the software. So let me just try to duplicate what you did. Continue, and this continue. So because it's a corner, it is connecting our start and ends right here. And the reason it will do it is because I have my settings set for line up start and end points enabled. So it does connect those for me, but I am getting a straight line that's cutting across this leaf. So your row height was set at 6 inches. And your gap was at 2.219. So reduce that. There it is. And then you had offset at 24%. Whoops, I went too far. And then you use shift, which I rarely do. And it looked like it didn't shift it in real time for you. So your shift was at 2.94. So see, when I do it, it's actually shifting right there on the screen in real time, so it's not waiting until I click finished. So I think I'm getting pretty much the same thing as you had after you clicked finished as I'm working on the screen. So I would know that I didn't want that. I rarely use shift. So let's take it back down to 0. Some other things you could play with is you could flip rows, but I don't really like that. We'd have to change the gap then. So I'm getting some really weird stuff going on. Anyway, I probably personally wouldn't use this for a pantograph, but I did play with it a little bit just to get it in a direction where I might use it as a pantograph. So let me show you what I did for that. I don't want it right now as a Panto. Add pattern. Block pattern, use current block, and I want to go back to that same pattern. There it is. Continue. So the first thing I tried is just putting it on the same plane because right now it's not. So to do that, I turned on my grid and I turned snap on, and I drug one point to snap onto the grid, and then I used stretch, went here, and then stretched this down so that it was on the same horizontal plane, finished. So now if I repeat this pattern, which is the same thing as a Panto, I can zoom out, and I would have to have my X distance less. But I'm still going to get that line in there, which I personally don't love. So I decided to try something different. Let's say finished. This has already copied one for me. So let me modify this pattern here and zoom out. I flipped Y, then zoom in. And this is my connecting point right here. I don't know that I would do this. I might cut it off here. Let's just look at it. I'll show you what I did, and then maybe I will play with it some more. So I'm going to move this so it snaps here. So I still have the line there. So I played with the rotation until I didn't have. Move it again. Snap it. I still have a little bit going through the leaf. Move it again. Snap it maybe just a little bit more. Move it back into place. Zoom out. Finished. I'm going to just copy these because I thought of something else I wanted to do for playing with it. So let's move that out of the way. So then I would combine these guys, these two, combine patterns. And I'm just going to do it this direction, swap, start, and end. This one, swap, start, and end. Continue and finished. And now I want my start and end on the same plane again. So I want this pattern that I'm going to modify. I'm going to zoom in and put it on one point, and then I'm going to stretch it. So I'm going to anchor it right there. And then I am going to grab this end and I want to put it on the same plane and finished. So let me just show you what this would look like as a Panto because I've already saved one copy. What I don't love about this pattern is I get that sharp connect right there, but it's a start. So let's move this one out of the way. Continue. And I have already made this and saved it. So I'm going to say finished, add pattern, pantograph, use current block. And here's my modified. I put modified at the end so that I knew I had taken somebody else's pattern and modified it. I'm going to continue, and this one continue. And now I would play with my gap. And this may not be the look you were going for. And maybe the offset a little bit. I just rarely use shift when I'm doing pantos, but that's my personal preference. So that's what the Panto would look like. So let's go back out of here. Just out completely. And I told you I was thinking of something else here with this one that's not connected yet. So I think I would like it better if I split the pattern here, zoom in, and just split it maybe somewhere around here. Split, and I'm just going to delete this section. Continue, yes. Out, and now I'm going to connect that, combine. Wait a minute, I don't want to combine it. I want to move them together first. Modify this, continue, move to here. And I think I would do some more rotating, move it. Rotate it a little bit more, move it. And I think I'd go about there and cut off some more of this by splitting it. So zoom in. Let's go finished and split it right there, split. I want to delete this. Zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Continue, yes. And then I want to modify the pattern and snap those guys together. There we go. Finished. Zoom out. And then I'm going to combine this, continue with this, but swap, wait, undo, I didn't swap my start and end points. This one, swap, start, and end. This one, first one, second one, swap, start, and end. Continue. Finished. And then that's not, I would zoom in there and I would smooth just that part. So I'm going to say finished and go over to smooth patterns. And I want this pattern. I don't want to smooth the whole thing. I just want that jog that I have in there. So I'm going to drag my start and end points down. So just the part that's green is going to change. I'm going to move this up more. And then I need to say how much I want to smooth it. I just want to get that sharp point out of there. Smooth. Maybe one more time and finished. Zoom out. And then finished. Added a pattern, modify pattern. This one, continue. I'm going to turn my grid back on and my snap is on. This is really way too big because it came into the block and I didn't reduce it. So let's take it down to, about 20%. See where we are. That's probably good. And now I'm going to zoom back in. So I tend to get off on tangents. So if this is not helpful, I apologize. So I'm going to snap that into one point. I'm going to stretch, put my anchor into the point that I just snapped onto the grid. And grab that other end and bring it down. Finished. Now let's look at it with the repeat. Continue. X repeat. To bring in my distance. It goes. I'm still getting that line, which I'm not loving. Because that's my start and end there. Let's say finished. Modify pattern. So what could we do? Let's zoom in. And let's split this right here. So it's the whole leaf, split, and then modify pattern. This one, continue rotation, and move it out. Let's do some more rotation. Move, maybe just a little bit more, move. Okay, so I'm going to move this pattern out of the way because I'm working on just one repeat. In, let's move it. Not quite where it should. Oh, I've got the snap still on, so let's turn that off, turn the grid off, and select my leaf, continue, and I'm going to pull that out of there. There we go. I want that to snap. I want the end point to snap into the start, so now let's combine this. Let's go this, continue to this, continue. Zoom out. Finished. Now let's look at how that looks repeated. Modify pattern. I'm going to move this away from that other one. Finished. Finished. Repeat pattern. Continue. X repeat. And bring in my So I'm pretty happy with that. I could probably play with it more, but we're going to call it good for tonight. I'm going to save a pattern from the quilt. This one, continue. Because I played with it so much, it has taken my name out. Let's just say clear. It was Jessica Schick, Panto. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. I can't remember it all, so modified, enter, and I'm just going to put it in test right now so that I can find it quickly. So now let's look at that one as a Panto. Zoom full. Add pattern, pantograph, use current block. I'm going to go up to that test. And it was this one. continue, and this one continue. And I can close my gap. I could make it the 6 inches that you had and offset. That's not bad. What happens if we flip it? Oh, we could get some interesting stuff that way, but that's not where we're going now. So let's flip it back and offset. So if you just wanted wavy lines of leaves, this is one way to get it, and I don't know that that's what you were going for, but I'm off on a tangent. So let me just say that's it for tonight.